Hello everyone, and welcome to lesson 4.5. Here's your objective. I will be able to convert measurement units. Now this lesson can get a little bit confusing, so stay with me and you'll be fine. This chart right here is in your book, so either you might want to, if you don't have your book at home, you might want to take some notes and copy this chart down, or you can refer to page 290 in your book and you can see these conversions like, well, you should know that 1 foot is 12 inches and 1 yard is 3 feet, but you might not know off the top of your head that 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and let's say 1 pint is 2 cups. You might not know all of these by memorization just yet. So copy this down, pause the video, copy this down, or take out your books to page 290, and you'll be good. Well, now that you've unpaused your video, or maybe you just ignore me, that's okay. Let's talk about a little bit of notes here. It's important to note that with conversions, conversions can be written as a ratio. For example, 1 yard equals 3 feet. Well, we can make that a ratio as 3 feet per yard. But it's also important to note that I could also write it as 1 yard per 3 feet. And this one says 1 foot is 12 inches. 12 inches per foot. I could also make it 1 foot per every 12 inches. That's going to come into play throughout this lesson. So keep in mind, ratios will be your friend as we try to make some conversions here. All right, let's start by converting larger units to smaller units. We will multiply the ratio with the smaller unit on top of our ratio, but it's the bigger number. That might sound confusing for you. But in this example, it says convert 20 feet to inches. All right, so I'm going to do 20 feet times my ratio of 12 inches per foot. Now, I also put a side note over here that's very important for you to notice. It says you need to cancel out your original unit. So my original unit is feet, and I want to get rid of that and be left with inches because I'm converting feet to inches. So I'm going to set up my fractions here. 20 feet is really 20 feet over 1. I notice how my 1 foot is on the bottom of this ratio because these feet will cancel each other out and I'll be left with inches. Okay, so all I have left really is 20 times 12, so I'll do that out. And 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 2 is 4, and that's my 0 there. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, so I get 240 inches because my feet cancel each other out. So it's important to note when you're going from larger units like feet to smaller units like inches, the smaller unit goes on top of my ratio. That's my smaller unit, but I say bigger number because it's going to be a bigger number. All right. So smaller unit on top. If you can't remember it that way, you can remember by saying you need to cancel out your original unit. So if I don't want feet anymore, I'm going to put feet on the bottom of my ratio. Let's take a look at another example. Now we have some fractions involved here. I have 3/4 of ton equals how many pounds? Well, looking at your chart that you copied down or in your book, I know that every 1 ton is 2,000 pounds or 2,000 pounds per ton. And notice how I'm going to cancel out my tons. So that's why the 2,000 is on top. All right, the smaller units on top, but the larger number. Either way you want to remember. But I think the best way to remember it is that if I don't want tons anymore, my ton is going to be on the bottom because I need to cancel these out. So these will cancel out, and I'm left with 3 times 2,000, which equals 6,000, and 4 times 1 equals 4. Now, I know that 4 can go into 40 10 times, and 40 is 20 away from 60, so that I know that, and 4 can go into 25 times, so 6,000, well, 60 divided by 4 equals 15, and I had 2 more zeros to add on to that, so 6,000 over 4 becomes 1,500, and I should remember my units. It's 1,500 pounds. Okay, you could divide it out if you want to, but I did mental math there because I could divide 60 by 4 pretty easily, and I just add my zeros to it. All right, one more from going from, here we go. So I have 1/4 cups equals how many fluid ounces? FLOZ stands for fluid ounces. Okay? So here we go. I want to cancel out cups, and I know it's 8 ounces per 1 cup, and my cup is on the bottom because I want to cancel this C out. So now I'm left with 1 times 8, which equals 8, and 4 times 1, which equals 4. And we all know that 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So I have 2 ounces is my answer. Okay? We wanted to get rid of the cups and be just left with ounces. So that's why I put my cup on the bottom of my ratio. All right, now we're going to switch things up a little bit, and we're going to convert smaller units to larger units. Now we are basically doing the same thing as before, but now we are putting the smaller unit with the larger number on the bottom. Okay? But I wrote this note again. We need to cancel out your original unit. So if I'm going from quarts to gallons, well, in my conversion ratio, I need to have quarts on the bottom because quarts is on top of the original unit thing. So 15 quarts equals how many gallons? All right, well, 15 quarts is really 15 quarts over 1. And my conversion is for every 1 gallon, I have 4 quarts, or every 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. So these quarts will cancel each other out, and I'm left with 15 times 1 equals 15, and 4 times 1 equals 4. So I have 15 over 4 gallons as my answer, but I can't leave it like that. I need to make it into a mixed number. And from previous lessons, you know that we would divide 15 divided by 4. 4 goes in 4, 8, 12. 16 is too far, so it just goes in 3 times, 4, 8, 12. And then there's 3 left over, 13, 14, 15. 3/4 left over, actually. So I went from an improper fraction to my mixed number. We got to remember the skills from previous lessons here. And my answer is 3 3/4 gallons. So for every 15 quarts, it's really 3 3/4 gallons. All right, let's try another example here. Now this one then deals with big numbers. We're going from feet to miles. All right, so I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. And I want to cancel out my feet because I want to have just miles left because I'm looking for miles. That's why my feet is on the bottom of this fraction. So every 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. All right, so I already know these will cancel out. And I'm left with 2,640 times 1, which equals 2,640 miles. And 1 times 5,280 is 5,280. Now you could do the long division here and set yourself up by doing 2,640 going into 5,280. You can do that, but I'm going to do some mental math here. All right? Because I know that 2,000 doubled is 4,000. And I know that 640 plus 640 would equal 1,280. All right, so 1,280 when I double that one. Add those up together and I get 5,280. So in my head, I could see that 5,280 is double 2,640. Knowing that it's double, meaning that's 1/2 of that. Okay, so 2,640 plus 2,640 will equal 5,280. So I could do a long division, but with my mental math, I can see that that is actually 1/2 of that number, so it'll eventually convert to 1/2. So 2,640 feet equals 1/2 of a mile. And if you were to do the long division, which I don't really feel like doing this early in the morning as I'm filming this, if you were actually to do the long division, you get 1/2 as well. Okay? And if you're confused, we'll do some examples in class. But that chart is going to be really helpful for you. And I think the most important thing to note as we go along is that we need to cancel out our original units. Okay, so keep that in mind. One last example that I will do, and then you'll have some for your own, is I'm converting 100 ounces to how many pounds? Well, if I look at my conversion chart, I know that for every 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Okay, so I have 100 ounces over 1, and instead of having 16 ounces over 1 pound, I did 1 pound per 16 ounces. Why? Well, you already know the answer, I hope, because I wanted to cancel out my ounces. So I'm left with 100 times 1, which equals 100 pounds, and 1 times 16 equals 16. So now I could set up my division problem here. 16 going into 100. Well, let's do some mental math again. I like mental math. I know that 6 times 10 equals 60. So 6 times 10 equals 60. And I have 6 over here, so I'm going to do 6 times 6 equals 36. And 60 plus 36 equals 96. So in my head, I just did 16 times 6, and I got 96. And 100 minus 96 equals 4. All right, so my answer is going to be 6 with a remainder of 4. But let me erase all, well, let me get this over here. 6 with a remainder of 4, but 4 over 16 is my answer, but I'm not done yet. I need to reduce. 4 can go in 4 one time. Let me erase all this over here. 4 can go into 4 one time because they have a common factor of 4. So I'm left with 6 with 1 over, and 4 can go into 16 4 times. So my answer is 6 1/4 pounds. Can't forget my units there. 6 1/4 pounds is my answer. All right. So you guys have only 2 problems to do. Here you have 5 1/3 yard equals how many feet? So you're going from yards to feet. You're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit. Then you're going from 28 inches to how many feet? A smaller unit to a bigger unit. Keep in mind that you're going to, like I'll set up the second problem for you. You have 28 inches equals a certain amount of feet. Okay? Now, if I look on my chart, or I should know this, every 1 foot equals 12 inches. And why did I put 12 inches on the bottom? Well, I wanted to cancel out my inches. So these inches will cancel out, and you'll be left with 28 divided by 12, and I think you can handle that. So try both these problems. Good luck. Bring your work in tomorrow in your notebook or on a loose leaf paper. Hopefully you grab the notebook. If not, that's okay. And I will see you guys soon.